many of the things we're going to talk about today, I'm going to share with you, are not bad things, but they're not the things that actually move the needle in the speaking business. Media is not something that moves the needle in the speaking business. Yet, speakers tend to spend a huge amount of their time and a huge amount of their money trying to get onto media. Now, how do I know? Well, I've been on a lot of media, right? I started out on local TV shows. After local TV shows, I got on national TV shows, many of the biggest shows in the world. I got into many of the biggest outlets, not just in the magazines, on the cover of the magazines. Not only have I had a chance to do that, I have personally appeared on many of the biggest podcasts in the world, at least in the space of personal development. Now, these are good things. These are not bad things. These are great things. Do they help? Yes. But all of this media has gotten me exactly 0 speaking engagements. I have never had somebody say, "Ooh, I heard you on that podcast. I want to hire you to speak." Never had somebody say, "Watch you on TV, want to hire you to speak." Never had somebody say, "Read your article in the magazine, want to hire you to speak." Never happened. Doesn't mean it can't happen. What we're trying to do is over-index on the things that actually move the needle. Media does a lot of good things. It builds your brand. It builds your reputation. I do think it plays a role in elevating your fees. I do think it maybe can be a tiebreaker, but it is not the thing that is going to suddenly blow up your speaking career. The number one thing you absolutely must have, that is, you cannot compromise on it. You do not need a lot of media, but my friends, I swear to you, I promise you, at least in my experience, you must have a clear and unique message. You must have a clear and unique message. So the first part of the Speaker Profit Blueprint is what we say positioning. Why do we call it positioning? Well, because positioning is how do you position yourself in the market? How do you position yourself as different or unique or necessary from everybody else? And here is one of our other frameworks, Sheehan's Wall. And I named this after a colleague of mine, Peter Sheehan, who taught me this, or he wrote a book about this as this applied to the corporate market, and we've adapted it to the market of speakers and personal brands. And basically, there's 2 groups of people. There are those who are unknown, and there are those who are well-known. And everyone who is unknown is trying to become well-known. We look at the people who are well-known, right? We look at the Tony Robbins and the Gary Vaynerchuks and the Brene Browns and the Oprahs, and we try to emulate all those things. And Gary Vaynerchuk talks about lots of topics. Tony Robbins has lots of different events on lots of different topics. Oprah's got lots of different business models. These people reach lots of different messages. And so we think, well, I'm a multi-passionate person. I'm going to talk about lots of topics. I'm going to manage lots of different social media profiles. I'm going to address lots of different audiences. I'm going to have lots of different business models. And what happens is you bounce off the wall. And the reason you bounce off the wall is simple. When you have diluted focus, you get diluted results. Period. Full stop. So I'm going to share with you the single best piece of personal branding advice that I've ever received. And by the way, this isn't a Rory Vaden quote. I wish it was. But this actually came from one of my early speaker mentors, a gentleman named Larry Winget. And the moment Larry said this, I knew he was right. I knew he was right. Here's what he said. He said, the goal is to find your uniqueness and exploit it in the service of others. Question with one word. And I would suggest, based on experience from myself and my own struggles, and I basically lost a decade of my life and career by not being clear and not being able to answer this one simple question with one word, which is, what problem do you solve? What problem do you solve? People pay money to solve problems. If you're not clear about the problem you solve, then there's no way that your prospects ever will be either. And people don't just, we're past the days of just hiring someone because they're a good speaker. Speakers get hired to come in and solve problems for people and organizations. And you have to articulate and clarify and market and promote and celebrate and be an ambassador of the problem. And the best chance you have of breaking through the noise is to come back to this metaphor of Sheehan's wall. So think about it. Think about it as a real wall, right? If there was a real wall, okay, right here, if I were to take a sledgehammer and I was trying to break through that wall and I'm hitting here and here and here and here and here, nothing is going to happen to that wall. But if I pick a spot on the wall and I hit the same spot over and over and over and over and over again, sooner or later, the paint is going to peel, and then it's going to chip, and then it's going to crack, and then there's going to be a divot, and then there's going to be a little tiny hole in that wall because I'm hitting again and again and again. And then I'm finally going to jab through that wall and pull back, and the entire wall is going to come crashing down. So instead of bouncing all over the place, chasing rabbits with shiny object syndrome, talking about lots of topics to lots of different audiences and lots of different industries about lots of different ideas, you hit the same spot again and again and again and again. And that is, friends, how I broke through the wall. Originally, I broke through the by studying procrastination. So my first two books, anyways, right here, okay? So Take the Stairs was my first New York Times bestseller. And then my second book, about the 5 permissions to multiply your time, all I did was study procrastination. It took me like 7 years to get clear on that. But once I was clear on that, in a matter of like 2 years, my speaking business exploded in terms of the number of gigs, right? I went from speaking for free to 5 people to speaking for at least a few thousand to $5,000 to $7,500 in front of hundreds of people. And it transformed because I started breaking through the wall. People could clearly communicate and transmit what I was an expert on and why they should hire me if they struggled with this problem. Now, once you break through the wall and you're on the other side, then you can expand into lots of other things. And that's part of what we help people do. Our more famous clients that we work with, our more experienced clients, sometimes you will see them doing lots of different things, right? So Lewis Howes was our very first client at Brand Builders Group back in 2018. And we've worked with him for a lot of years. Lewis does a lot of different things now. But the way we helped Lewis break through the wall was getting clear on like the one thing. And in his case, it wasn't speaking. It was podcasting. In fact, part of what we did with Lewis was we told him to stop speaking and go all in on podcasting because that was a big part of his one thing.